everything around us, but we have an incredible desire to help ourselves. You know how people say, "May I help you?" Ask yourself, may I help myself? Give yourself permission to help yourself. Because if you're always thinking about making the change, but never doing anything about it, you're never going to see that change. Well, happy Motivational Monday. Can you all hear me okay? Welcome to another edition of Vibe Talk. Vibe Talk is all about our feelings, our emotions, and even learning something of historical value. We want to motivate you today, on this day of February the 6th, 2023. Can you hear me okay? And good morning, Trish.
Yes, I can.
Good. First of all, I want to say, what are we all thankful for? I'm thankful for getting to be able to think about self-caring and the value of that, to self-care, because the more I pour out, the more that I need refill. But only I can do that. We want to welcome you. And for those of you who are listening, what state are you listening from? Please and thank you. Trish, what are you thankful for? What are you thankful for?
I'm thankful to see another day.
I love that. I love that. Let's be thinking about the things that we're thankful for. You know, it's oftentimes that we wake up each day. Do we give ourselves enough time to think about why even be grateful? I'm also grateful for learning history. When I was in school, I could care less, or could have cared less, about history. We're going to learn a history that has been trying to be put out of its existence, or being limited, if you will. I'm going to say a name, and that name is Carter G. Woodson. You ever heard of him, Trish?
No.
I had never heard of Carter G. Woodson. Never had I heard of him until this weekend, until I did research. I wanted to know a question. Does your mind ever want to know something? All the power or the empowerment of knowledge. I wanted to know, where did Black History Month originate from? You know, because we said things like, Black History Month, why is it only 28 days? Black History Month, that's not enough days for us to honor Black history. Well, I was enlightened, and I hope this motivates all of you today. And yes, we're going to talk about it. Why? Because it's a historical part of us. In fact, all of you are history and herstory. We all have a piece of a story. And if you put your stories together, back in ancient times, where I never lived, but it has been passed down through history, quilts were made from stories. Yes, the very quilts that keep you embodied and warm. Those little square patches represented something from a story. We're going to wove you with some history today. So who is he? Carter G. Woodson. Carter G. Woodson is the very person who started Black History Month. Have you always wondered why Black History is 28 days? Because you see me, I take it a step beyond that. Aren't you worth more than just 28 days? It would not take me 28 days to tell you my start and how I arrived. And by the way, you don't have to be Black to learn about Black history. Furthermore, have you asked yourself, why is it that the challenge of facing the lions with Black history, why is it that people have tried to eliminate Black history? And why is Black history limited to only 2 familiar names? Now, we don't want to discredit anyone in here, anyone out there, anyone that has been past and even present. But the answer is why, when, and what. See, many people don't want to celebrate Black history. And I'm going to speak to every color, every background, every male and female species, young and old. And if you're not talking about Black history, why aren't you bringing it to your tables? Because you see, it wasn't in school that I learned about Black history. It was at my table that I learned about it. My mother always said my mother should have been a teacher. She filled my plate up with things that she thought was important. You know, we get a little whiff of this and we get a little whiff of that, taste of this, taste of that. But let's really fill our souls up with soul food for thought. Let's not limit our minds. Let's be the lions that Vibe Talk teaches you to be. Let's stand up. Let's speak out. Let's learn today what some of the greatest inventions are that we use in our own households. No one has ever accredited this or that. Now, I know you're expecting me to tell you some of the greatest inventions by some of names that we may never have heard of. And by the way, those inventions are not Black. Those inventions are created by black people that were never given accreditation. They were never even acknowledged. See, back in the day, what happened is that when slavery happened, there were people who decided that that was not going to be their plight. Even though that was a time and a place, they decided, nope, not going to do that. There must be another way. See, they thought open-ended. Although they were denied to go to school and learn, they had brilliant minds. They decided to teach themselves how to create through song, through things. And today, some of the very things that you are using, they have created. I want to think about this. We're talking about Carter G. Woodson. And he said, those who have no record of what their forebears have accomplished lose the inspiration which come from the teaching of biography and history. You see, because here's what we do. And if you and I have been a victim of that, please stand up. Please acknowledge limiting ourselves of the very root that we've come from. You might say, well, my parents, my grandmother, my grandfather, you may say, never came from slavery. But I want to enlighten you with something. How do you know that your parents' didn't come from that? We've come a long way, baby. Black history. Nothing about black history is dark. We are talking about how we have arrived. How you and I got to be where we are today. See, we oftentimes see two people. Is there anything wrong with that? No. But I want to enlighten you on something today, since it's Motivational Monday. Here's what we do. We have let history inform us that we are limited. That black people came from slavery, although that's true to a certain point. And I'm going to restate that because I don't want this to get out of context. Some of our heritage came from that slavery, where people bought us. You say they didn't buy me. Oh, but have you had the talks with your great-parents? You are pretty fortunate if they are still alive. Your grandparents. But you're not limited. Do you realize that Google has put on the map educational things? Click. You type in Black history. If by now that you have not clicked on to Carter G. Woodson, I encourage you to do so now. Because you see, it was my mind that asked the question about Black History Month. Because why is Black history always attached to a month. I think that every day we should honor inventions, honor where people have come from. Everybody has a story. I'm going to tell you Carter G. Woodson's story. You've heard me say Black History Month. Well, there's your guy. Black man. Thought of Black History Month. Black History Month. Our Black Talk question is going to be quite challenging. And that question is, what do you know about Black history? We're going to sit back and listen to the calls. Vibe Talk is all about education. So if you would, I'd like for you to take a moment, because all of you are Google smart, and type in Carter G. Woodson. You ready? We're going to learn something today. We're going to learn something today. Did you hear what I said? I said we're going to learn something today. Something that you are never going to forget. Carter G. Woodson. What was he known for? Celebrating the historic contributions of Black people led to the establishment of Black History Month. Every February since 1976. How many of you knew that? Trish, did you know that?
No, I didn't know.
We learn something every day, because up until this weekend, I had no idea. But here's how I limited my mind. Because I always wondered, why is Black History a month? Who came up with that idea? I thought for sure that it was someone not of Black heritage. That's what I thought. What did you think about that, Trish?
Well, I thought Black History Month came about because a lot of things happened in the 1800s for our history in February, like Frederick Douglass's birthday is in February, and other things happened in February.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good insight. That's why we have a co-host here. Because it's important to find out what's on our minds. Here's some things we want to know about, or we have learned, that Carter G. Woodson, although establishing Black History Month, he was born to former slaves. Started high school at age 20. He was the second Black American to earn a doctorate from Harvard. We have honored Black history every February. Wow. What a thing to learn. Wow. See what you can learn? Also, through the years, Black History Month has focused on two people. And I want to be sure to explain what I mean. Schools. Your child's school, your school, has limited Black history from getting out. I am tired of seeing images ravaging of poor, pathetic, chained up, cotton field, no hope, hopeless. I'm tired of seeing those images. Aren't you tired of seeing those images? Some of you may feel differently. But no, let's shed some light. Remember what I said about lit candles some time ago and how candles light up a road to see or help you see or have insight? That's what we're going to do in here today. We're going to gain some insight. We're going to be able to light our way to a better understanding of why Black history involves you, and yours. It is broken color bounds. Last week we had a very interesting podcast on color, but not the way that you all may have seen it. This week we bring you thoughts about your history. You see, we learn one side of history. But if we were to light our way through Black history, we'd be surprised. You know, in the early 70s, there was a movie out. And the movie was called Roots. The writer decided to put that movie out. And to this day, I think about that movie. You see, the writer of that movie wanted you to believe that there was light. Or lack of light. They saw it one way. But I ask you here today in 2023, can we get past that? See, because some of our Black historians have arrived. Not only have they arrived out of that darkness, but they have delivered. They have stood up for what they believe in. You see, there were many people like Carter G. Woodson who decided to do something. You see, it said he was born from the heritage of slavery. Did you hear me when I said that? See, he decided to rise above the situation. That was not him. There's a message in this for you. What will you learn from it? That you don't have to be dictated to be what you were born from, what you were born out of. You can be something far greater. Look over there. Do you see that horizon? You can be that horizon each new day. And at the end of the day, or days, or years, however long it takes you to arrive, you are empowered with the ability to do so. You see, he became a doctorate back in the day when there was slavery, or people were sold into slavery. They were denied education. Carter G. Woodson was no fool. You see, they only tell you what they don't want, or they tell you what they want you to know. We started out with Google. Have you yourself, as a person, no matter what your color is, have you looked into the pages of why Black history is even discussed? You know, people get on the bandwagon without even knowing where that wagon is going. We talked about Black Lives Matters from time to time in a year. Remember when that movement was happening? And every race, every color got on the band. And I started to think, does that mean that everybody is agreeable to my life, to care about my life? Well, what's our latest news? Far from my Black life mattering. So are you just jumping on the bandwagon and you buy shirts that say Black Lives Matter or Black History Month? Black history is an integral part of all of our history. There's going to be some people that aren't going to like our Vibe Talk question, because we're going to get down to the root of the problem. What Roots forgot to tell you is that Black people are far from slavery. They're far from that. But they'll keep showing you that movie. They'll tell you some of the greatest actors were in that movie. But that's just the point. They were actors. We've risen above the occasion. You have Black colleges for our Black, smart people who wanted to continue their schooling, graduating with high honors. Do we know them? I don't personally, but I've looked into history. We're not enslaved. Why do you think that your mind is enslaved? Now you think about today at 2023 and you say, wow. Your parents, if you're not old enough, will tell you about the movie Roots, and you say, wow, those poor people. That's what I have had people, my friends, say. All those poor people. That was a artist's depiction. But get behind some of the people that really went through that. Now, I don't have anybody in my family that has went through that personally, but I do have someone in my family that said, yes, we did go through where Black people had to go to separate bathrooms, or Black people had to sit in a certain area because someone didn't want them to arrive. I love hearing those stories because only the people that have been through it can really tell you about it. And that's the kind of girl that I am. I only want you to tell me if you've really been through it. No movie acting. We look at where we couldn't. Our parents, perhaps, my parents knew what that was, the Watts riot. I was too little to even know. I even asked some of my friends that are not of my black heritage, what was that like? Because everyone was affected. Not everyone joined in, got on the bandwagon to hurt people because of their skin color. See, everybody wasn't with that. I'm going to jump up into our day and time for Black Lives Matters. You see what began to happen with Black Lives Matters? Everybody was just doing things. Some really fought for the cause, while others decided that they were going to tear up a nation. We saw a lot of that. And we said, well, if Black Lives Matters, why are we stealing tennis shoes? Why are we doing this? Why are we... Gambio is calling. We're going to ask the Vibe Talk question. Good morning, Gambio. Good morning. Caller, are you there? If you are there, we welcome your calls. We welcome your calls because our Vibe Talk question is, what do you know about Black history? I probably changed that up. I'm sorry. It'll come to me. Gambio is calling. Good morning and welcome. Okay. Somebody's trying to call. But I want you to be able to think about, does your life matter? Think about that. You know, people create these movements. They originate from somewhere. What did we learn from that? Because there's still hatred. There's still people's sons, daughters being murdered for the color of their skin. So I'm going to ask you something. What does your black life teach you? What does your black life teach you? Trish, are you still on?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I'm getting somebody that's here, and I'm trying to... What we want to say to you today is we want you to look at the word accomplished. Accomplished. Those two people that the world has focused on, are you still in that set of mind that there aren't more people? People who have made life in their hardest of hardest lives easiest for you. I love to talk about Black history with my parents. I have learned of some of the greatest people. Things I never even thought about. A stoplight. How many times do we take that for granted? Signal lights. That was made by a Black person. Smart, you say. Because you see, now in our lives that matter, we're so glad for stoplights and lights, traffic lights. Oh, and peanut butter. I love me some peanut butter. How many of you have ever eaten a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? Anybody? Anybody? You ever eaten a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, Trish?
I have.
Do you like peanut butter and jelly?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Black person invented peanut butter. Chips. How many times have you eaten potato chips?
Too many times.
Yeah. So now, our Vibe Talk question to you. Our Vibe Talk question to you is, what can you learn from Black history? What can you learn from Black history? We're going to talk about that. Because we know when you spend time with our Vibe Talk, that you can't just walk out of darkness and continue to be there. Good morning, Aaron. Good morning. And welcome, Aaron. Aaron, Trish, what is our Vibe Talk question? Originally, what did I say?
It is, what do you know about Black history?
What do you know about Black history? Hi, Aaron. So glad to have you. We are live on Facebook, ladies and gentlemen. We are live on Facebook. And thank you, Aaron, for joining our Vibe Talk. What do you know about Black history? Is there anything that you know about Black history? That's our Vibe Talk question. Trish, if you would, could you put up our information so that people can find us? And Aaron, we thank you for joining us. And where, Aaron, are you listening in from, please and thank you? Where are you listening in from? Good morning. Mr. Black, where are you listening in from, please and thank you? We are monitoring our lines, ladies and gentlemen, because we know that people call in to be calling in. But we're going to take Vibe Talk more seriously. And Trish and I are doing our homework for Vibe Talk. Texas, good morning. We keep putting you on. Good morning. We're going to be monitoring our calls. And I can't seem to get this call from Texas. I'm trying to get your call, guys. Aaron says a lot more than mainstream. I'm from Mesopotamia, culture, the first multicultural civilization. I'm from West Virginia. Okay. We have a caller that's on here. We are trying to answer your call, and we're getting interruption. So Trisha and I are going to make sure that we take Vibe Talk seriously. Why even talk about Vibe Talk with that? Aaron says, I've been incarcerated, which unfortunately you get to know Black culture from prison. What do you know about Black history is the question. What do you know about Black history? I want you guys to be honest with yourself. Is it fair to say that experience is Black? What do you think about that, Trish? Just because you've had an experience, is that Black?
Yes, because my experience is part of me, and I'm an African American, so yeah, it is Black.
Okay. So, thank you for that. When I have an experience, it doesn't allow me to know. Doesn't allow me to know enough. And call it the Black experience. There's so much more out of this podcast to learn. And just because I'm Black or just because I experience one Black person doesn't mean that all Black people are that way. I want to just state that for the record. The question is, what do you know about Black history? What has Black history taught you? Because you see, schools have almost eliminated it. And I wish there was more schools that represented Black history. I want you to think deeply about the question. Because, I quote Carter G. Woodson, those who have no record of what their forebears, your forefathers, people that lived in your lineage before you, what they accomplished. I was watching a program the other night, in fact. Do you guys know that there were some slaves who got free when they were set free, when slavery was no more? It was illegal to have a slave, because that time happened. Okay. I want you to understand that some of those people owned land. There were some good things that happened. You know, they became friends with their slave owners. And if they were really liked, that's how they came into owning properties. I thought, wow, that's interesting. So you had some that inherited things because of their slave owners when they got free. Many people, while they were owned by people, they had the mindset to set themselves free. Come closer to me. I want to ask you, in 2023, do you have the mindset to set yourself free? Do you have a mindset to set yourself free? Because sometimes we're embodied with not being capable. Our mind limits us into believing and feeling like we can't be free of the stuff that we carry around, that we are enslaved in every day. Some of you are dealing with quite serious things. Depression, You're trying to fight your way through it. I am so proud of those of you who are still figuring out the mindset. How can I live a better life? You've got to know what the problem is. And if you're walking around and enslaving yourself into, I don't know what's wrong with me, you are indeed enslaved to your own selves. Get to know yourselves. I want you to be able to get to know yourselves. Make it make sense to you when you look at yourself by asking these questions. From where do I come from? Because all of us have a founding. We come from something. Is it just fair to say, yes, we do come from our mother's wound, from our father's seed? That's fair to say that. But now think about it on a deeper level. While you have originated from that, what is your roots? People spend billions of dollars trying to get to know who their family heritage is. Some of us are related to famous people and we don't even know it. What's your roots? Getting to know who you are. Not being told that you are a slave, you are enslaved, but rather you are free. We've come a long way, baby. Remember earlier how I told you that you can just click on Google? Google's smart. Now you top that with the human brain. The human brain has endless possibilities to store up more information that will fill minds up. Because see, your mind feels to someone else. And then their minds fill up, and they're going to fill a person's mind up with something else. Today, I want you to be filled with motivation. How do we carry on? Oh, you're still waiting for me to tell you who the two people are that we always hear about. By now, you've gathered. Anybody know who I'm talking about? Anybody know? Aaron, thank you so much. I'm about to read your comments. Anybody know the two people that they're always pointing to? And yes, they've done great things. But let's not limit our minds. Let's get beyond that. Anybody know? Trish, do you know who I'm talking about?
My guess is Harriet Tubman.
Okay. Forgot about, there's three. Thank you for that, because I forgot about that. Yeah, that's who. Thank you for that. Martin Luther King. Everybody familiar with Martin Luther King?
Yes.
Yeah. You know, when I was teaching, I had a conversation with another teacher, and I posed a question. Why is it that the schools will only tell you about two people? Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks. And I asked her, did you know that there were other black people that invented things? Many people were mad at Martin Luther King. That's why he's no longer here with us. We're mad. Because you see, the bandwagon that he wanted was for freedom, for us to be able to go where we wanted, for our children to be able to hang out, get together without the prejudices. How far have we come today? We've come so far, but do you see it? Yeah, I see it. And let's be honest, in the latest news, we have seen people against their own kind. Sad. What about Rosa Parks, who was tired and needed to sit down? How many times have we been told in your lifetime to let the elderly sit? Common, right? How many times have you been told that, Trish? Thank you so much. Aaron, we asked the question, what do you know about Black history? He talked about his family, and he said that my family has lived here on this property since 1861 and never owned slave. Every antique tool we own was used by my family to work our land. They tried to enslave me today, and it doesn't work at all. I'm too smart and powerful to fall for it, so I get terrorized. Oh, okay. Yeah. So, thank you for that. We're going to be asking that question. Chase, good morning and welcome. Thank you for joining us. Chase, where are you listening in from? What state? Please and thank you. While we discuss Black history, New York. New York. Thank you so much. What's our Vibe Talk question, Trish?
What do you know about Black history?
Yeah, what do you know about Black history? And if you don't know, that's okay. We're in discussion. We're not going to put anybody out. We're not going to put anybody. Yeah. He says, I'm Black. What have you learned about Black history? I'm Black. Trish, you're Black. What have you learned about Black history? Why is Black history important? Do you think it's important, Chase? We don't delve into issues yes. Why do you feel that Black history is important? We get into the core of the question. And thank you so much, Chase, from New York. We want all people to matter. We want you to be heard. When we know about things, we can contribute. What did you build? What is it that you build, Chase? What did you build? You built. Okay. If you're not sure about Black history and that question, we're motivating you today to find out who Carter G. Woodson is. Didn't have a clue to who he was, because every time Tricia and I bring you something, it's researched. Sully, good morning and welcome. We want to make sure on both sides, Trish, that our information is there for them in case you all want to join again. Vibe Talk. Today is Motivational Monday. We are on Facebook Live, Trisha and myself. And Sully, good morning. Where are you listening in from? Love the heart and the hand. Love that. I already know it's going to be good energy. Sully, where are you listening in from? What state, please, and thank you. We want to thank you so kindly from our heart as we discuss why Black history is important. New York City, jungle of madness, huh? A lot going on. Now, our Vibe Talk question. What do you know about Black history? And why is Black history important as well? Because you see, people have shied away from Black history, but the truth is that Black history is all about people that had overcome. When you think about what you've overcome in your life, don't you want people to know how you came through something? How you fought through a lot? Yeah. Sully says we went through a lot. Yeah. But we didn't stop there. There were some people who said they are going to overcome. No, Chase, I have not seen that. There were some of us who said, I'm going to become greater than this. I'm going to become greater than this. We're talking about Black history. Black history. We're going to stay with that subject. We're not going to politically divide. We're not going to take sides. We're simply talking about freeing ourselves to become greater than what we were yesterday. And remember, if you've been with Vibe Talk, yesterday means the past. Chase says that the 1619 is literally Black history. Thank you for that. Thank you. No, I have not seen it. And when you ask a question in here, we're not going to judge people. We don't judge people. No, I haven't seen it. But I know enough to have started a podcast about this subject, Black history. Our podcast is all about feelings and emotions. Feelings and emotions. Thank you so much. We want you guys to participate in the conversation, and we want you to still be listening. Sully, thank you for that. Ruby Bridges. Another important person of history. Thank you for that, Sully. Anybody know what Ruby Bridges was famous for? Trish?
She went to a non-integrated school. Mm-hmm. She was the only Black person there, mm-hmm. and she continued going even though they tried to force her to not go there.
You know what I loved about her mother? Nothing intimidated her mother. Yet nobody knows about Ruby Bridges' mother. The woman who said, you're going to be educated. How many of you have dropped out of school or thought about dropping out of school, we know that you'll listen to our podcast later. You see, Ruby Bridges' mom and Ruby Bridges decided that they were going to go to school despite what was going around, and that at those times could have been very dangerous. Very dangerous. No, we're going to give you guys an opportunity to look it up, to educate yourselves. You can sit in your home all day long and get a college degree. Did you know that? Just by the touch of Google. You know, there's a powerful thing about us, our brain. You can educate yourself. People didn't have that back in those days. They didn't have those things yet. Ruby Bridges was a little girl. Type up the image. I challenge you all to do that right now, if you want to. Because the next time someone says to you, what do you know about Black history? You see, my nephew, I tell him a lot about Black history. And I says, you know what? You should surprise your teacher. You should surprise your teacher, I said. So what do you mean, Auntie Nisi? Start talking about Black history. Some of those things your teachers don't even know. Ruby Burgess, thank you, Sully, for that. Love, love, love a thinking person. Sully, that was beautiful. You still here, Sully? Thank you for that. It's not a lot of people. Yes, Sully is still here. Not a lot of people know about that. But you see, that little girl, the person behind that little girl, we don't know Ruby Bridges' mom's name. We have no idea what her name is. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, I follow Ruby Bridges on Instagram. She's still living. Can you imagine? Yeah, she's 68. Sully, keep it coming. Don't you love that, Trish?
Yes, I do.
I'm excited. Somebody's finally answering our question. 68, yeah. I follow her on Instagram. Can you imagine her impact? Yeah. Sully says, my grandma is 77. Literally means that segregation was not that far back. Yeah. So true. Jace. Yes. See what we can learn? We can stay educated. Knowledge is power, but it does us no good if we're not using it to impact our life. Ruby Bridges has impacted our lives. Trish mentioned earlier Harriet Tubman. Thank you for that, Trish. Harriet Tubman, I watched a movie, and I think it's the best one I've seen. I've seen one when I was a kid, but Cicely Tyson played Harriet Tubman. I love me some Cicely Tyson.
Me too.
You love her? Yeah. That's the queen. But I'll tell you what. The movie that was in theaters not too far back, I loved that. I loved that. What are you saying, Sully? Such a beautiful, different approaches, but both respectable. Beautiful. Thank you for that, Sully. But now today, everybody Anybody wants to speak on segregation? Have you segregated yourself? If you don't understand what we're talking about, look at our podcast from last week. I knew that February was going to be the month of Black History. And it's a nice way of moving into that. Chase says we live in the second most segregated city. Well, people's attitudes separate them. You remember the thing that I said last week, Trish, about thank you for that, Chase. Last week I said if there's parents out there who are not seeing their grandkids because your child married into a biracial marriage and you now have a grandchild and you're not okay with that, you need to fix it because we've come a long way. We've come a long way. The people that I was thinking about, Martin Luther King, Sully, you just talked about him. Martin Luther King had a dream. How many of you know what that dream is in your own words? I don't want you to recite it. What did you take away from that? Because there's something of value here. Something of value. What did you take away from Martin Luther King, I have a dream speech? Anything that you gathered from that? Thank you for being with us live. We are live on Facebook. Show them how to get there, Trish, because we feel that info is important. Our podcast is live recorded. And we want all of you to gain access to our podcast. We had some disruption earlier, and Trish and I won't stand for that. Equality. Yes, Sully. Thank you so much. Yeah? That's what he wanted. How many of you wish that for yourselves? That people see past your outside? They start basing you on the content of who you are, what you stand for. What do you take from that, Chase, is the question. We all say it's good. We've heard it. Is it a hot tap? Where are you listening in from, please, and thank you? Where are you listening in from? Where are you listening in from? Kentucky. Thank you so much. So we're going to talk about equality within yourself. Do you treat people equally? Because you see, the power of the mind can help you. We're going to ask this question. Do you treat people equally instead of waiting to be treated equally? Because it's not BS if you're the first to extend equality to someone else. You know, I've started a new thing. And you know what that new thing is? How many times have you walked past someone and not said good morning to someone? How many times have you said or walked past someone and not said good morning? Anybody in this room? Because you see, we're in contact with people all day long. How many times do you guys walk past people?
A lot.
Yeah. Now the question is, okay, Chase, we do not talk out to other people on this podcast. Hotep is allowed to speak his view. And no, I didn't know that. We do not talk out to other guests. Hotep, you're allowed to speak. You're allowed to speak. Stop speaking out to our guest. Because we don't have any idea of how they might be feeling. And we knew that when we started talking about Black history, that it's going to make some people feel certain ways. Sully says, I love that, Sully. Being indoctrinated into the mindset of eat or being eaten out there. Usually I avoid people. And why? Sully, I love that. Hotep, I want to read yours too. I think segregation was a good thing, in my opinion, just like what Muhammad Ali said, it's nature. And why do you think that was a good thing? Oh, Sully says New York and its craziness. Hotep says he wants to be around his own kind more than anything. What is your nationality, Hotep? And I only ask you that because, okay, African. And so you have a reason for why you feel that way. And that's what we do. We get into the crux of why people feel the way they do. So Hotep, you're allowed. I don't know your name. What is your name? Good morning. We say good morning in here. Chase, have a good day. You've interrupted long enough. I can no longer let you be in this room. Not mature enough to be here. I don't know who the new person is. Hotep, keep your comments. Sully, keep your comments coming. No, baby. That's not crazy. That is not crazy. Good morning. Good morning. What is our Vibe Talk question? And I'm nobody. This is not the podcast for that. I will not let you disrupt something so vital. That's not crazy. Removed. Yes. You are somebody. And Sully, we're not talking out. Let's be sensitive to other people. I got that. What Hotep said about the wanting to be with his own kind, because you've had an experience, Hotep. You want to tell us about I love that. Hotep, look how we got him to talk. I love that. Hotep said, I just wish our people start building together and ignore all these distractions. Yeah. 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 That is beautiful. Thank you for that, Hotep. See, we just don't kick people out of here just because. When people come in here, ladies and gentlemen, Trish and I want to make you feel welcome. We want you to feel that you are being heard. Hotep says, I want black men to value black women. Yes. Yes. Yeah. That's part of our history, that we value each other. See, he's not talking about a different nationality. Sometimes there's black on black crimes. There's black on black victimization. If that's been part of your history, how can we make it better? How can we make it better? Two very important things that Hotep said. Keep your comments coming. We love this. How can we make it better? Stop speaking abusively in songs. Yeah. Trish, what do you think about that Hotep? We love it. We love it. What do you think, Trish? Thank you, Sully, for being sensitive. You can say comments like that, agreed, but we don't want you to address anybody. That was good, Sully. Thank you. Go ahead, Trish.
I was gonna say that I understand Hotep's viewpoints.
Me
because
too.
I'm glad we gave him a chance to explain.
Yes.
Because, just reading it, it's like, whoa, that's questionable. But
Yeah.
then, when you give people a chance to explain and you understand them more, it makes a big difference.
Yes. So thank you, Hotep, for being patient with me. And I understand. I've had students. Some used to come to me angry or upset, Then I give them a chance and they open up. And that's what you did today, Hotep. Thank you for giving us a chance. And Sully, keep adding to the conversation. Beautiful conversation. I want to talk about that when he's talking about the black women or the black men valuing the black woman. I ask a question in here. How can we fix that? Because I'd like to see that too. And that goes the other way around too, for the black women to value the black man. It goes both ways. How do we fix it? Hotep said, I'm a very angry person. Thank you for sharing that. I felt that. And you know what I want to do? I want to embrace you by giving you a virtual hug, Hotep. Because your honesty is real and raw. See, you came in here and you said, I'm angry. We work with emotions and feelings. Everyone send Hotep a virtual hug. Please and thank you. Let's do that. Because we understand completely. I'm sending you one. I'm a little slow. Seriously. Everyone knows that. Where's my hug thing? I'm gonna send you one. There you go. Why do we do that? Because we want you to know that we understand. We understand. What do you think, Hotep, has made you angry? You've talked about black men valuing their women. I think we hear it a lot in our top number one. There you go, Vibe Talk. How we're living today, yeah. You even mean mugging on your picture, Hotep. But that's okay. That's okay. Just trying to make you smile. But I want you to think about how we can make a difference. You know, our history has been passed down to us. And as we have Black history, some very valuable points are being made here today. I stopped for a minute to pause. You did smile right there. Just the fact that you gave us a laughy emoji. Thank you so much. I've been known to melt down the coldest ice. So, if I'm doing my job, that's all I care about. That's all I care about, to get beside you and understand that anger. You have been a champ in being able to admit that. If you guys have learned nothing here today, we learned from Hotep. Because he came in Vibe Talk and said, I'm angry. And you know what? Here's how we fix. You're welcome, baby. Here's how we fix the way that Black men are treating their women. And he's not saying every Black man, because I don't want hate letters. I'll take them, because I'll read those too. Yes, Sully, you can always express that. We love you talking. Sully says what? I'm going to let Trish read it, because I talk too much. Trish, my co-host, what did Sully say?
Sully says, I just wanted to express that this is beautiful, the openness.
Yeah. And I want to express how much I appreciate you all. Remember, we can't address a person. We do that out of sensitivity. Hotep, don't go anywhere. Sully, thank you. You can express that, just don't put a name, because we wanna make sure that we're sensitive to everybody. She says, don't go anywhere. That's what I want to do. I want to get in that heart. And Sully, you keep those comments coming. She says, your honesty and transparency is beautiful. You're so very welcome. Hotep, I think the greatest way that we can work on fixing something. Good morning, Miso Genist. I hope I'm saying that right. Hi, where are you listening in from? Hotep, if you're still listening to me, I want you to know that I feel the greatest way to value women is stopping the lyrics that spew out hatred. Our Black history has shown that women were ignored. Women didn't have the right to do this or that. And then in still some countries, women still are treated as the weaker one. How many powerful women do you guys know? Powerful women.
A lot.
Yeah. Who would you start with first? Anybody?
I'll start with my mom.
Hotep said my mom. What about you, Sully? Who would you start with as a powerful woman? I'd start with my mom. Sully, who would you start with? Powerful women. Let's start there, because I think Hotep has got a point, and this is something that fits into our Black history. Sully, you still there, baby? Did we lose Sully? I see Sully. I see you, Sully. So now, Hotep says, I'm the youngest out of all my mom and dad's kids, 6 sisters, only boy. Wow. I'd be mad too. You got a lot of hormones and a lot of girl stuff going on. Wow. We gonna keep hugging you. Because we know how we women are. Sully says, I've been around a lot of them, but I don't really know any personally. We're going to name some. Viola Davis. My mom, of course. That's where I get my strongness from. My mother. Viola Davis just got an award just last evening. Love, love, love her work. Black woman in power. The list goes on and on. Shirley Rolfe from, what's the new Abbott Elementary? Anybody seen that show? Oprah Winfrey. Who else? Michelle Obama. We're talking about these women that have left us with something to think about. You see the lyrics that come off the radio pages, the lyrics that we snap our fingers to, bob our heads to, turn it up as our cars spew out degradation of women. Sully says Alicia Keys. Yes, I love her. I remember watching the award show and she played the piano, 2 pianos, one on each side. I thought, wow, that's amazing. Yes, thank you, Hotep, for that. Look at what's coming out of him. I'm so proud of you. What did Hotep say? I can see it, Hotep, but I'm giving my co-host a chance to be able to read and respond. Go ahead, Trish.
Hotep says, I had to stop listening to violent rap music. Lowers your vibrations.
Yeah, changes your mood. Angry music. Sully says agreed. Yeah. For all of you who are out there with these lyrics, you're teaching your next generation how to treat the women in your life. Remember the first question I asked, who was the strong person in your life? A strong woman? Do you know any strong women? See, because those are the people that have set the patterns for us. And granted, I want to be sensitive to the needs of people whose moms may have passed away. Moms may not have been in their lives. But I want to tell you something. For a woman to bring forth a baby and to lay bare that child with birth pangs, that is a powerful woman. The woman who pushed you out is a powerful woman. A woman that can bear another human in 9 months. There is no other species on the earth that can do that but the woman species. And yet I agree 100% with Hotep. Degradation of women. And you sing these lyrics to your children. Sully says this New York drill scene has horrifying music. It plagues the soul, the degrading. Yes. How do we teach our young men, especially if we're honoring Black history? What has history passed down? You know, back when I was a kid, divorce wasn't a thing that was talked about. Our parents didn't talk about those things, but, we call these things that we're wearing now. How many of you have heard this? How many of you have heard this? Wife beater t-shirts. Where are we getting that from? I'll tell you where we're getting it from. People who have saw their mothers beat up, their mothers slapped around, their sisters, their aunts. That's where you get it from. Let that not be your history. Let it be something that you say no to, just like the enslavement of people. They said no. Carter G. Woodson said no. Carter G. Woodson said, we will not be ignored. Keep your comments coming. Hotep, rap used to be militant, but in the way of fighting the system, building your community, yes. Now it's turned into something, some of it, the lyrics to the women. Let not your sons or your daughters take on that, but rather spew out lyrics of boundary, spewing out lyrics that bring people and bind people and tie them in an emotional way, not enslave them to chain them up to die and to become nothing and nobody. They are someone and something. Thank you so much to Hotep. Thank you. Sully, thank you. My co-host, I'm going to turn it over to her, but I want to read this comment from Sully. Sully says, it broke a lot of generational curses. That's what I was thinking about, generational curses, when it came to the cycle repetition in the family. Yes. Be not a color that binds, but free yourself. All this week, we'll be together again on Wednesday Wellness. We're going to talk about it. How Black history has brought together a time for healing. Time for healing. Sully said it didn't really have a mom around, grew up around the strong men, though. I love that. Thank you for that. See, we get you guys to talk around here. I love that. You know, Hotep, you make me cry today. Can I tell you why? I'm going to tell you anyway. You have an effect on people, Sully. Beautiful conversations this morning. We get to, from Black history, look at what we're learning about your history. Hotep says, lost both of my fathers, my stepdad and real dad, when I was 17. If it wasn't for the strong women, my life wouldn't be here today. Can we give him another virtual hug? We're going to give one to Sully as well. I think it's deserving of that. Everyone send him and Sully a virtual hug, please and thank you. Because that takes a lot for you guys to be so open. impact, empowerment. We want these conversations to keep coming. Look at what's happened here from us talking about empowerment of Black history and why it's important to know that history. The honor. We honor you, Hotep. We honor you, Sully. And if you didn't get hugged today, boy, did we hug you up today. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to turn it over to Trish for Trish's Treasure to give you some more impact. Trish?
I'm going to start with the states that were in here today.
Thank you.
Today we had Texas. Bessie Coleman, the first African American woman to have a pilot license. And we had New York.
I'm lost. Hold on. We were talking about, because I gotta get on the page. We were talking about the states, and then you said something about Bessie Coleman.
I'm saying the states, but saying famous African Americans from their state.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. Don't kill me yet. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. We had New York. Elizabeth Jennings, a century before Rosa Parks, integrated public transit.
Love it.
Today, we have California, and from California, the first name I saw was Maya Angelou, the first female African American poet to read a poem in presidential inauguration. South Carolina, James Brown, the godfather of soul, known for his music. And last state we had is Kentucky, and we have Willow Brown, co-founded the National Airmen's Association of America in 1937, an organization designed to get African Americans into the Air Force. So I say all this to say that we all have at least one inspiration in our states all around the world. And we should focus on, yes, they've been through a lot, but what did they accomplish? And accomplishments say a lot more than the struggle, and the point of them accomplishing, even though they've been through so much, shows a greater power than...
Good morning, Gabby. Go ahead, Trish.
Than their struggles.
Yeah. This is yours. I'm letting you talk, Trish.
Okay. And to speak on freedom, I have a song. It's called Free, and basically it's talking about how freedom begins with your mindset and what you think. And, you know, the lyrics are, freedom begins when it's in your mind. And that is so true with everything, depression and poverty. You know, your mind doesn't see the only picture of living in poverty. It sees and it hopes and it wishes to change into something better. You know there is better out there. You know there is a brighter future. So once you have that mindset, you will move forward into going towards your goals and doing what you want to do. And what others tell you to be, don't let that be your life sentence of what your life should be. It is up to you. You were born on this earth for a purpose. You have to find your own purpose. It's out there. It's there. You just have to keep looking and grab it and embrace it.
Mm-hmm. What a beautiful podcast. You know, we come on here. Trisha's my co-host that lives on the East Coast. I live on the West Coast. We come together without scripts. And look at the beauty. We're so thankful for all of you. You know, we ask you when you come in here, please don't speak out to other people, but you can speak out, but not addressing them, because some people are uncomfortable. Some people are angry. Some people are timid. Some people have never really had sit-down conversations like these. And that's why we tell you. Well, we want you to keep talking. This podcast is going to reach so many people, because as soon as it's over, we post it live. We want you to go back to the time of where you felt anger, where you felt it most and you were able to get it out. We know that it's not going to heal overnight, but I can promise you one thing. You will in time heal. Because the mind is such a powerful thing. Taking in the knowledge, being able to learn from others. And when you have been injured by something, especially brain trauma, sometimes brain trauma takes a long time to heal. I'm speaking to you, and you. When you are affected by something that has traumatized you, when you are affected by something that has caused you pain, your pain teaches you and others something. You are not your pain, but you have pain. You are not your pain, but you had pain. From that pain, you have, by your roots, blossomed into something so beautiful. Before you go, the special message here is that you impact people. You are now inducted into history in her story. You get it? You came in here not knowing any of us. And yet, you, by your history, have impacted. Let Black history not just be about the color, but let it be about the people who have broken boundaries to become who they are, who have left an impact, and who have left something that has taught us. I want to thank each of you here. Hotep, you are the highlight of the day. Sully, you are the highlight of the day. You kept the conversations going. We know that some of you have come in here, you don't know what we're talking about, and look, I can get the angriest person to melt. I love that art about me. And I thank you, Hotep, for allowing me to get next to you, your feelings, your emotions, because you could have walked out and said, I'm angry, and we don't have equality, but you've come so far. Count this as a day that you will mark down in history today, February 6th, 2023. You've made history today. And you will forever make history by the way that you impact people. Not everyone comes in and is able to express themselves. Sully, we learned so much from you, my dear. Because I noticed when I answered the question or asked the question about the mother, I noticed that you were very quiet. That tells me a lot. So I don't really have to say a lot. But you came back and you said you didn't really have that in your life. The men in your life were the force. We get that. So thank you for sharing that. We hope that this has motivated you today, that it has brought you tears, it has brought you tears of joy, and you have been able to release your pain, your emotions. We know that it's not going to take one day, but think about the people who decided for one day, I'm going to make that change. I'm going to transform into something greater, something better than I was yesterday. You are now free. Fly, my butterfly, fly. I want to thank each and every one of you. Now for the final question, Trish. The final question of the day is what? And good morning, Scorpion. Don't go yet, guys. We got a question for you.
What have you learned or discovered about yourself today? And what was your experience like here today?
Yeah. And I'm going to be mad at you, Hotep, if you say you learned nothing here. Because you made me cry in here today. So I expect to see something in that chat box. Lines are open. If you guys ever want to do a one-on-one Zoom with me, it's free. We want to let you know that our Vibe Talk line is exclusively for Vibe Talk. 661-503-8993. Voicemail and texting is important. Hotep, first one that has something to say. I love it. He says, I learned it's probably best to speak up and share your experiences. That's beautiful, Hotep. See, that's what Vibe Talk is all about. If we didn't speak up, how would you know? All of us have experiences, don't we? We all have something to share. We ask you to share your stories. Sully says, I gained a new perspective. Thank you, Sully, with a heart. Hotep says, never know who you can connect with. Because you see what we do to ourselves? We entrap ourselves. We enslave ourselves because we can't get a releasing from how we really feel. Why? Well, we all have different reasons. I have a different reason than you do. But we all entrap ourselves because we say, nobody will listen. Nobody cares. I don't know how. But in Vibe Talk Facing the Lions, that's why we're called Vibe Talk Facing the Lions, because we're challenged with these emotions. We don't know how to release them. Get to know your historians, your herstories for Black history, because we will continue to celebrate the gaining of their Black excellence. Everything is not slavery. Everything is not bondage. Everything is not doom. When they were working in the cotton fields, they were thinking about ways to free themselves because they didn't want what, Sully, I believe it was you, the genealogical curse. They said, this will not be passed down to my sons or my daughters. I will be something greater than this. I want to tell you a cute story. Oprah Winfrey. Back in the day, I heard this story because I used to love to watch Oprah Winfrey when she was Oprah Winfrey Show. Come home. The men were even watching it. Now, she says one day she was out. She was a little girl. And her grandmother said to her as they were taking the clothes off the lines. I don't know if you guys know about that. Some of your grandmothers know about hanging the clothes on the line. and you put the clothespins on the line. Well, anyway, go ahead, Trish. What were you going to say?
I was going to say I do.
Yeah. Oprah was a little girl, and her grandmother looked down at her as her grandmother's taking the clothes off the line and says, one day you're going to be out there. You're going to be doing this. Oprah says in her young mind, no, I will never do this. Oprah is known by one name now. When I say Oprah, you all have one image, right? Oprah broke free from what she was born into. You can do the same. Oprah has made history. Hotep, you made history in here today. Sully, you made history. Trish, you made history. I made history. When you start feeling angry again, I want you to replay this podcast in honor of yourselves. Regardless of your color, regardless of your experience, I want you to be able to say, if I didn't tell my story, how would I have been able to teach someone? And you've taught me that. You've taught me humanity, to feel for another person. You've taught me to listen, not just ear listening, but mind and heart listening. I immediately connected with you because I saw the anger. Sully, you taught me about your being able to engage in conversation. Your being able to share your thought. You see how the connection goes? It's just like connecting the dots to make a beautiful picture. I want to say thank you to each and every one of you. Don't forget, Vibe Talk is all about emotions and feelings. We get to get into our feelings as we talk about things that tug on our emotions. Our Vibe Talk question is all day, even when we're not on air. It is all about knowing your history. We want to thank you guys so much. In case we don't see you again, which we do hope, our Vibe Talk Facing the Lions is on your Facebook, Instagram. Find us. Include us as one of your favorite podcasts. Thank you so much. What I learned from here is to listen, to have compassion, and also understand what makes a person who they are. We hope, Hotep, that you're not as angry as you were when you came in here. You were embraceable. You have the right to feel the way you do. And thank you for sharing, because you could have just not shared. We appreciate you. Thank you, everyone who's been in here. Trish, any concluding comments?
What I learned in here today is that I'm victorious.
Mm-hmm.
My experience made me victorious, not a victim, and I would not like to be seen as a victim. As my forefathers before me, they saw themselves as victorious, and they made their life victorious, even though it wasn't all great. And I can do the same. I have the ability to do the same. So that's what I learned.
I love
and my
that.
experience here today, I was happy and enlightened at the same time, because I love the interactions when they come in here.
Mm-hmm.
And Hotep, I'm happy because you're happy. You have that effect.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you guys found this live enjoyable, and I'm glad it gave you solely a new perspective.
Yes. He says, I'm happy now. Sully says, I'm captivated and honored to be in the presence of thinkers. Don't you love it, Sully, when you get a bunch of people and you guys are talking to get somewhere and you're not talking about a bunch of nothing? You're talking with substance and meaning. The mind is a terrible thing to waste. We talk about Black history because it's our history, regardless of your color, regardless of your content. Black history should not be excluded, but included. And we're putting it back on the map. Thank you, everybody. We do hope that you will join us tomorrow as we are, or Wednesday, we will be back here live on Wednesday Wellness. Until then, we want you to be motivated. We also want you to think about change. How this day has changed you forevermore. Thanks, everybody, for joining Vibe Talk Facing the Lions. Find us, click like, and follow us on our social media pages. Have a good day, and thank you, Trish, my amazing co-host. Thank you for Trish's treasures. Appreciate that.